Hello and welcome to the first episode of the first review of the new series 3 Months of Russo. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Overall, not hating this episode, but have problems with it. And I'll get into those. So, kick off the show. Pre the introduction and all that, Sid's arrives in a limo with a bunch of lawyers. As we'll find out later, there was speculation of who these guys were. Accountants, as was said, and I'm like, why would Sid show up with a bunch of accountants? There we go. And then we go into good start. Match goes into match to start the show. At least that's what I thought. No, it's not. Juventud Guerrero vs. Evan Courageous. Now, there's no indication of, like, hey, these two guys are having a match. And Brett comes out, says, oh, there was no time. And I'm like, after watching this show, there was no real time for him to cut his promo. But there was some stuff that could have been, like, cut down or removed. It was a packed show, I gotta say. Like there was like boom, 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 boom. Like there was no sense, or at least not until the end, that the show would slow down. There was like a lot of backstage stuff, very little wrestling on this show. So that's one criticism I have. Is like not necessarily. A couple of matches are like, oh, I could have given them like a minute or two longer, and especially with his style. Basically, Brett's pissed off because he wants to wrestle Hogan, but also because, like, guessing that he eventually wants the title, and like beating Hogan would obviously lead to the title. But so Sting comes out and says, "Oh, no worries, Brett. I'll give you a shot at the title tonight." And I gotta say, not much comes back to this. It's mainly this Goldberg Sid thing, and I think Vince thought that was what was going to sell the pay-per-view. Was that it wasn't Sting versus Hogan, because Hogan didn't appear on the show at all, really. Actually, no, he didn't appear on the show at all, which is like. Kind of a big deal if you figure at least like there would be some sort of interview with him or something. No. And then like Brett didn't punch either Evan Courageous or Juventud Guerrero, who were having a match, and I've got to say a pretty high octane good way to kick off the show match would have been like, boom, there's your opening match and everything. Sorry, God. I don't think I have pink eye or anything. Don't worry about that. I just got something in my eye. And then Tony Schiavone run down the show saying there's going to be a good way to kick off the show. Also, say, hey, stay tuned because Goldberg is going to take on Lex Luger. Harlem Heat are going to defend the tag titles against the Filthy Animals. And they don't mention which two, so you don't really know. And a New York evening gown match. I don't know why it's a New York one. They're in Philadelphia. Why is it a New York one? But pinning Medusa versus Mona. Yeah. I'll get to that. Mike Tenay interviews Sid. And he doesn't say much. And I did write some other stuff here that didn't really need to be written down, but because I didn't know what was going on because I hadn't watched the show before, so at all, so I didn't know what was really going on. And I gotta say, as far as backstage stuff goes, Sid is better at that. And like, if you keep him limited, that's what I would do. But yeah. He doesn't say much. He consults his lawyers and says, I can't really say anything. Some sort of legal issue. Guess what? This doesn't really go anywhere. Uh, then we cut to Goldberg arriving in a white limo. Sid arrived in a black one. Goldberg arrived in a white. And I gotta. This is subtle. This is subtle. Sid had showed up in a suit, which is like really weird to begin with. But he had his chauffeur went around, let him out, let all his lawyers out. Yeah, that was how the show opened. Goldberg let himself out, and you see that the chauffeur is like, what, what, and he's got his bags and everything. He gets it all out himself. Very subtle, but like that's a key thing. I don't know who did that, but like I sense you sense that Goldberg's the one that likes to do things himself, and he's like the regular guy, whereas Sid is the hoity-toity rich guy type thing, which I doubt is really true. Sid has a paper and he says he cannot touch me. I thought had gotten a restraining order or something. No. This is a very short match. So this is only the second match of the night, and like, sorry, this is going to be a long thing because it's like 3-hour show. Disco versus Vampiro. Yeah, lots of speculation still early on about what Sid's up to and stuff. So that's there, but Disco's versus Vampiro. Weird match, and at this time, Disco was the Cruiserweight champion, and he's facing a non-Cruiserweight. He's not defending the title. Okay, Lash LaRue comes out. They put him on commentary. Really bad idea. Like, he's supposed to be from Louisiana. It sounded to me, I don't really know accents. It sounded to me like he had more of a New York accent. And yeah, I really got the feeling tonight that we'll put a bunch of guys on headsets. It was the thing, and we'll get into that later on. Disco wins in like a minute, maybe less. Definitely less than 2 minutes, with a distraction of Lash LaRue. Lash ends up getting like, as far as setting up the pay-per-view between this match between these two. Okay. Yeah. No. Then. Okay. Lash hits his finisher on him, which is like an attitude adjustment into a front slam, which is a pretty cool move, but like, little guy doing it. Okay. Larry Zbyszko. Tonight, yeah, a lot of your announcing will be done by the desk is two guys, Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan. For the most part, they did an alright job. Way better than like anyone that WWE has now. Yeah, okay. Basically, Goldberg's like not really intimidated at all by what Sid's up to. He's interested. He's interested. I got to say that. Then Mike Tenay interviews Medusa, who's like not up for this evening gown match, doesn't care or anything, and I get the sense that like no one in WCW had seen like an evening gown match before, because like the announcers knew the rules, but I don't think the referee, later, and I'll get to that, really knew the rules either. But yeah. Then we get some sort of thing about a Nitro Girls contest. I wonder who's going to win, Stacy Keibler or this other chick that was there, who was also very attractive. I gotta say, like, if they, like, yeah, this is like a prelude to the Divas Search contest, which apparently was supposed to happen. Like, there was a talk about doing it, bringing that back. Buff Bagwell shows up, says he's got all the stroke and all that. Those guys are gonna, the guys that are coming in, it's all over the internet. They're gonna want me to be the guy. Completely changes his character later on. So yeah, more Sid talking to his lawyers. Goldberg preparing for his match. Regular stuff. Good. Good at building up that. Gotta say, where was all this with TNA? We got Harlem Heat versus Ray. The Animals win. Shenanigans and stuff. A lot of shenanigans with that. Like, I got the distinct impression they really wanted to push the Animals, like Conan, Rey Mysterio, Billy Kidman, and Eddie Guerrero. And it was a pretty good match. Like, I think that match was the most given, but oh my god, the commentary. It was just awful. Like, midway through the match, Billy Kidman and Eddie Guerrero and Tori Wilson came out, and Tori's wearing a mink coat, and I'm like, yeah. And as we'll find out later, not wearing much underneath it. Yeah. And like the minute Tori shows up, completely, like, this is for the tag team titles, like a pretty big deal, and the focus is again on these on this, what's going on at ringside, which I don't mind if there's a little bit of a chat about how gorgeous Tori Wilson is. Like, we say that and then we move back to the match. Billy Kidman's dating her. I don't know how long before, but like, she had split up with David and gone with Billy Kidman, and that must have been fairly recently. But yeah, there was that, and like, I can't even remember what they were talking about, to be honest. It was just like, I was just like, I would much rather, like, I get the teenage boys in the audience and the young 20-something, and maybe some of the young 20-somethings were like, hey, Tori Wilson's hot, but, like, we're not saying that. She's in a mink coat, and like, it's not till later that we see anything like that. And they're teasing that something's underneath, like, they get a sneak peek of what's underneath, and like, yeah. It's like instant reaction, my reaction, whoa. But yeah. And I think this is the beginning of the setup with the Kimberly David Arquette thing. Not David Arquette, Kimberly and David Flair thing. Because after this, Kimberly gives David Flair her key and says, her hotel room key, and it's like teasing that something's going to happen between the two of them. I'll get back to that a little bit later. Ming versus Hugh Morris. Ming wins with Tongan Death Grip, and the Outsiders show up. And then I think I'm pretty sure there's a commercial break. Then coming back, we have Sid coming out with his lawyers. All to set up Goldberg to bring him out, so Sid can get a powerbomb on him. He spears one of the Goldberg spears one of the lawyers. Sid powerbombs him. Says he's going to kick his ass at Halloween Havoc. It's pretty big production just to set up that. okay, I don't know if like there was supposed to be more to this. Yeah, like like they hired a bunch of guys. One of them obviously a worker to get speared, or at least like take the spear. Not not thrilled about it. Got to be honest with you. Not a great segment. A lot of people are like, what's going on? Yeah, and then the outsiders get kicked out, and like we cut back. Like I'm going to say this right now. We're going to cut back to them. Like they get cut back to it throughout the night. For some reason, the camera guys can find him, but the security can't. Really, like I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of that. Why doesn't security just take them out? Because they were like already like taken out earlier. But later on, they get masks on. They're pretending to be Latino and say, looking for Senor Goldberg. It's like, what the fuck? Bret Hart is interviewed by Mike Tenay, and during the interview he says, Mike Tenay asks him, okay, if you win, who's getting the title shot at Halloween Havoc? And he says, look, that's not my decision, but if we're up to me, I would give the shot to Hogan because he's already promised it. Then, minutes after that happens, Sting cuts in, boom, 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 they're going at it. This, I don't mind, okay, it's just a couple, like I said, there's things that bother me. The Lash LaRue thing, should have mentioned this. Like, I wouldn't have put him on headsets, but I would have had him standing there to distract Disco. Would have had Disco cost him, Lash cost Disco the match, had Vampiro go over, because in my world, Vampiro goes over Disco every time. Because, honestly, who's the biggest star? Who's got the more drawing potential? Stuff like that. Like, yeah. And then we cut back to Goldberg looking for Sid. This is fresh from a commercial, and then we have Berlin coming out, taking on Rick Steiner. Berlin's got the wall with him. I think more time was given to Berlin's entrance than the entire match, because Brad Armstrong comes out. He's supposed to be taking on Berlin at the pay-per-view. This is all to set up that match. Rick Steiner, screw him. Honestly, I don't know how much was left in the tank, but I can honestly understand de-emphasizing Rick Steiner, and like Steiner finds what the heck is Brad doing here. Tries to choke him out, grabs him, and then the wall comes out, bang! Like you don't even see it. That's a good thing. Like you didn't even see this, and then bang, and the chair comes out. Oh, that's the wall, bang! And then Berlin manages to get the win. Rick's pissed off, beats the hell out of Brad Armstrong. So yeah, fuck him. More of the outsiders looking for Goldberg. They may have been getting high on cough medicine. Like clearly, that was the thing. I vaguely remember someone mentioning, like Vince Russo mentioning this. They couldn't be shown drinking beer, but they could be shown getting high on cough medicine. What the fuck? Something, drinking alcohol, which is legal, and like, okay, drinking cough medicine, okay, getting high on it. Yeah, then we for some reason, there's a camera crew set up in the hotel room, like, and Kimberly's getting ready. She pulls out some pills or something and says this will knock him out. Then bursts through the door. It's Ric Flair, and he bounces on the bed. He is like, he's like great in this scene. The boy couldn't be here, but you and I can go all night, baby. And I'm like, she's married to DDP. Like, what the fuck? Goldberg's still looking for Sid, who runs into ICP. I think I'm pretty sure they say that he's gone, then Goldberg beats them up. Okay, they'll leave. Then Lex Luger's interviewed with Elizabeth. He seems a bit worried about what's going to happen between him and Goldberg. That's heavily implied in this and later on throughout the night. Then David Flair coming out wearing the very, pretty sure I've seen it a couple of times, the like silver studded robe of Ric Flair's with Nature Boy written on the back. Okay. Yeah, and he's taking on Billy Kidman. And it's clear, like, this should have been, like, honestly, David was not ready for TV. Clearly shows throughout this. He's stumbling around. He's not botching, but it's like things just, he's not moving through the ring very smooth. It's like he's trying to figure out what to do next throughout the match, and clearly not cool. Cool. Very bad. Like, honestly, I think I agree with the statement that David should have just gone somewhere, wrestled somewhere else under another name, maybe even under a mask, because like he does look a lot like his dad, and gotten better, and like in a few years, then come to like WCW, or if it had been still around at the time, or WWE. He needed some seasoning, definitely. Yeah. And then the filthy animals at the end of the match swarm him, beat the crap out of him, and that's it. The Outsiders run to Mean Gene, looking for Goldberg, and then Ric Flair returns. Then we have the Mona vs. Medusa match, and I wrote in here Mona wins, damn it. Because out of the two of them, I would much rather see Mona, who is Molly Holly, by the way. Very young, very sexy Mona. Like, I'm pretty sure she was interviewed as well earlier on, and she was kind of like, we'll do the match. So, yeah, she wasn't as pissed off about it, but Medusa was like pissed about doing this match. Then we get Sting pacing, getting ready for the match with Brett. Brett coming to the ring. Then we have the title match. And this is about midway through the show. Bret Hart versus Sting. Sting does win, and this is probably the this is the longest match of the night so far. Like, you think in a 3-hour show, like, there's stuff like just thrown in there to go try and get as many people on the show as possible, it seems like, but it's like a skeleton crew there. And like, Lex comes out, takes a ball bat to Brett's ankle, and yeah, Sting wins the match. Then we have Ric Flair and David Flair catching each other up with what happened, and yeah, this sets up something later on. Outsiders backstage. Then this is pretty weird. Now you contrast, like they mentioned this on the show, like, hey, they're like, Buff was all like confident, and he comes out. He's not doing anything. He's not strutting. It's like complete. He's not doing anything. La Parka, God love him, is trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I honestly don't. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe earlier on in the night, he had been told that he was going over. Then he says no. Then he was told no, Little Parker's going over. And fucking hell. Like, like you watch the match, he's like completely exposing the business. He's off in the corner. He's bludgeoning his way through the match. He's still selling a bit, which is weird. Like, but like he just like he's putting no effort in. And honestly, I don't know, guys. Was this work? Was this a shoot? Because after the match, he says, "Oh, La Parka just beat me. Do you want to send someone else out to beat me?" He's lying in the ring, and then he gets up, and then Jeff Jarrett comes out. Bam! Jeff Jarrett returns, smacking a guitar over his head, and like all that stuff I've immediately forgotten. But Jeff's like talking about what he said. Got your stroke right here. Sort of thing. Fuck. Like, what the hell? Then we get a triple threat elimination match: Chavo Guerrero versus Perry Saturn and Eddie Guerrero. From memory, I forget who wins this. I think Chavo wins. Yeah, Chavo wins this, and then the Filthy Animals beat the hell out of him. Eddie pins Perry Saturn, and they just... So yeah, that happens, and this is pretty good. It was given time, but like no one seemed really into it. Now you look at that, like Chavo Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero, and Perry Saturn in a match together. What the heck is gonna happen there? But okay. Shane Douglas was on commentary. He's got he shows up, but like he's like I forget what he said, torn bicep or something. His whole arm is in like plaster. God, did this guy get injured and still manage to find some way to work? We get a recap of the night for what's all that's been going on with Goldberg. Then we get a hardcore match between Horace Hogan and Norman Smiley. This time it was before like Norman Smiley had been. Apparently this was his first hardcore match, and he was screaming and stuff through it. Wasn't till the end that people got into, figured out, oh, this is where this is going, okay? Because like they were going, like they seemed disinterested. I honestly don't know if stuff has been changed for this. Because I remember, like, no matter what, like, people were into the shows. Yeah, and Norman wins. Then after this, we get a Ric Flair promo, and he's ambushed by the Filthy Animals. They beat him up. They steal all his shit and leave. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they stealing all his shit? Like, Billy Kidman's out there in person. It puts on Ric Flair's jacket and goes, yay. Ooh. Shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like that's not what I would do. Like, if it was their suggestion, like, fine, go right ahead. But like, I don't get it. I don't get what they were planning with these guys. Like, why are they heel? Then we get Goldberg Luger. This is the main event of the night. What we have apparently been building to the whole night. Not much, like, stuff has been mentioned about it, but it's like very glazed over. Like, How long am I into this? Like, I'm 30 minutes into this talking about this show. Goldberg, Luger, decent, like, pretty good, but for what you would expect out of these two, it's like the blind leading the blinder. But like, people love Goldberg at this time. Like bring it on. Like, he was so over. Sting comes out to try and help at the end of the match. Sting comes out trying to help with his baseball bat. His baseball bat ends up getting broken because Brett comes out and steals it and tries to hit him with it. Aims right for his fucking head, swings it, hits the ring post with it. It breaks in two, and then they end up going into the ring. He ends up beating up on Sting and puts him in the sharpshooter. Luger comes in, tries to take him out, and somehow or another, Goldberg wins. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3, and at the end, they're celebrating. The Outsiders had come out for some reason, but nothing happened with them. They passed out, like, on the stage, and I'm like, what the fuck with them? But, like, yeah, you got quite a few what the fuck moments. You got some stuff that, like, but overall, a pretty good show. Like, entertainment-wise, like, you wouldn't want this to be a regular thing, to be honest. So I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Like, it wouldn't get me to buy it. Like, honestly, it would not have got me to buy the show that was coming up. I wouldn't have gone that far. Now, me from now would watch this show and said, look, I'll tune into Thunder, see what happens there, because I think the thing that's missing, and I don't think WCW did this nowhere near enough, giving you a card rundown. Now, I think on the pay-per-view channels they would have an update of why certain matches were happening and stuff the week or so heading up. Because I remember seeing that like they would run down the cards. I don't think that happened. I think that happened under Russo's watch or not. I can't remember, but like they would show what led up to these things. Like, I remember there was a huge thing on one of the pay-per-view channels about Hogan versus Nash, and what it really built up to that, and then they tracked it from Goldberg's title run to the finger poker of doom and Hogan's eventual return, his babyface turn. They tracked, like, they hit all the key spots. They showed the progression of it. Now, whether or not that actually was, like, intended or anything, like, yeah. Now, obviously, Russo didn't really have a chance to clean this, like, clean. He did as much as he could. We don't know what's going to happen with the tag team title situation, because apparently the First Family were promised a title shot. Well, okay, so that's a bit iffy. Something's changed there. But there was like, what, 3, 4 matches built up to, like I know we have Luger versus Bret Hart on the show. No mention of that match. Okay, but I guess maybe that wasn't mentioned on Thunder. Now, unfortunately, I can't cover the Thunders because they're not on the network yet. If I could find them on YouTube or something, I would, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. Not a lot of the music really seemed changed. I think there was, like, I know Jeff Jarrett's was changed. I'm like, fuck. Because his intro theme was pretty cool. Yeah, but look at this show, like, nothing. Well, not nothing, like, pretty good show, but, like, very middle of the road, kind of a maintenance show, trying to, like, nothing that would make me go, oh, I have to buy the pay-per-view. Now, I gotta be honest, last thing here. Towards the end, this did start to feel a bit like a chore. But it wasn't until that, I gotta be honest, it wasn't until that Norman Smiley Horace Hogan match. Like, I took a few had to pause to take down notes. That was getting a bit frustrating for me because I was like, I just want to watch the show. And it wasn't until the Horace Hogan Norman Smiley match that I was like, this is starting to feel like a chore. But like I said, overall, that's why I only give it a 6, because, like, my general feeling there was like, okay, so, and the show was, like, without commercial, 2 hours, 20 minutes, so a lot of time was dedicated to this. Alright, so I'll upload this, along with the other one at the same time. This, and all that. I'll try and get these out, as many as I can. Like I said, that in the previous one, there is an episode missing, so I'm going to wait until that one comes up onto the network. Hopefully that will be pretty soon. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm at least going to be able to cover the next one. I think it's like the one after that that's missing. Okay, so catch you all another time.